Having a painting like that in the entryway would be embarrassing, wouldn't it? That's why I took it down. My dear painting, casually sold on a flea market app by my daughter-in-law, Michelle, who said this without any remorse. It was a colored pencil drawing of a gerbera my mother made for me on her deathbed. That painting was a keepsake from my late mother. I know. But I can't display an amateur's painting. It's just too embarrassing. Don't you think that's a bit much, even for a daughter-in-law to say? Even when I bravely spoke up, Michelle didn't flinch. Crossing her arms, she glared at me intensely. Lily, you should consider your position. Remember, when you need care in the future, John and I will be the ones looking after you. There it was, her usual trump card. So, you think that gives you the right to just sell off my things? I am John's one and only wife. You should think carefully about how much you'll need our help. With one more glare, Michelle left the entryway, her high-end brand shoes clicking sharply as she walked away. Tomorrow, I will be moving to a new house all by myself. Knowing this, Michelle sold the painting just to spite me. This wasn't the first time my son John and his wife Michelle had sold my belongings without my consent. I was angry, but had resigned myself since I couldn't get them back. But selling my dear mother's keepsake, that I cannot forgive. Both Michelle and my son John, who is completely under her thumb, infuriate me. Once I move to my new house tomorrow, I will completely cut ties with my son and his wife. They can live as they please in this old house, with my husband and themselves. I am Lily, a 50-year-old housewife. I've been doing part-time work in a factory while handling all the household chores for many years. Taking care of my family, which included my husband, our only son, and for the last 3 years, my daughter-in-law Michelle as well. 6 months ago, I lost my mother, who raised me all by herself. And she left me a substantial amount of life insurance money. With that, I decided to buy a small, newly built house and separate from my increasingly distant husband. Michelle sold my mother's painting the day before I was to move into that house. When I said I was moving out, my husband just replied with a simple, "Do as you like." Our relationship had grown cold over the years. Neither of us were to blame, it was just inevitable. However, the ones who strongly opposed my move were my son and his wife. Who will do the housework if you leave, Lily? Michelle, you're a housewife too, aren't you? I'm a civil servant, just like John, not a part-timer like you. Michelle's right, Mom. It's ridiculous for a mother to abandon her family. As I was packing, my son and his wife kept complaining. Why buy a house now of all times? It's my money, left to me by my mother. I can spend it however I please. The life insurance money should have been used for the family. Buying a house for yourself is just wasteful. Yeah, you should have shared some of Grandma's insurance money with us. My daughter-in-law, who never washes even a single piece of underwear and prefers to spend her time on dance, yoga, and Italian lessons. All while indulging in branded goods. My son, completely henpecked by her, joining in to scold me. I'm just fed up with it all. On the night of the move, my friend Emma, who lives near my new place, invited me over. Let's have dinner together, she suggested. Today, my husband is out for a drinking party, so it's a perfect time. Thank you. I haven't even unpacked my dishes from the boxes yet. Emma's house is an impressive single-family home. She and her husband built a large house because they are dog lovers and wanted to keep large breeds. Currently, in a corner of the living room, 3 Dobermans are relaxing quietly. While eating the hamburgers Emma made, I shared my troubles about John and Michelle with her. What's with that daughter-in-law? And sorry to say, but your son sounds pitiful. John has always been a bit timid, but now he's completely under his wife's thumb. It's frustrating. A large dog approached me as if to offer comfort and curled up at my feet. Among the 3 Dobermans, it was the female named Daisy. Daisy is much kinder than my own son. My dogs are all smart and well-behaved. I used to be a dog trainer, you know. Emma, who used to be a dog trainer, is very skilled in handling dogs. The 3 dogs present may look big and intimidating, but they're actually gentle and very intelligent. They never attack people, but at Emma's command, they can bark at unwelcome guests with ease. I wish I had a gentle dog like Daisy. Well, why don't you get one? I'll help you train it. Indeed, starting today, I'm free to do whatever I want. I'm about to start a new life in my small, newly built house. That should be enough, right? That's what I thought, until Michelle and I are moving into the family home next month. That's what my son called to tell me at the end of the month. I was just getting used to living alone and beginning to enjoy my freedom. The family home. Oh, you mean Michelle's family home? No, Mom, your house. My house. You are living in your father's house, so that should be the family home. I didn't understand what he was talking about. Michelle and I talked about it, and we decided that a family home really means the mother's house, not the father's. So, we've decided to move into your house. That's not possible. My house is too small. There's no space for 3 people to live. This is a joke. I absolutely refuse to be bossed around and burdened with all the housework by John and Michelle again. But there's at least one room to sleep in, right? You can sleep in a corner of the living room and we'll use that room. Don't be ridiculous. Absolutely not. Me, sleep in a corner of the living room? The very idea makes my head boil with anger. Even if you say no, we're moving in. I'll start by sending some boxes by courier. I'll refuse to accept them. Yeah, I'll figure something out. Anyway, we're moving in, so just be ready. John said this and abruptly hung up the phone. I don't want this. Absolutely not. I can't allow this to happen. The next day, I went to a family restaurant with Emma. I desperately needed someone to talk to. Sorry to say, but they are the worst kind of son and daughter-in-law. While sipping her cafe latte, Emma said this in disbelief. You absolutely must not accept this. You need to firmly refuse. But knowing those two, they might just hire movers and start bringing furniture. I just don't know what to do. I took a sip of my jasmine tea, as if trying to wash away my pathetic feelings. Though it's my favorite tea, it tasted incredibly bitter. Yeah, it would be hard to refuse if movers brought everything. It could even lead to trouble. I need to find a way to make them realize they can't come to my house. I want to teach them a lesson for their rotten attitudes. Maybe we could enlist the help of my pets. Your pets. Her pets are Max, Duke, and Daisy. They are her 3 Dobermans. My pets can bark and growl on command, they can put on a bit of a show. Maybe they could scare them off. True, John has been afraid of dogs since he was a child. Living with a son and daughter-in-law who would sell your mother's keepsake is tough. Let's think of something. Yes, thank you, Emma. Talking with her has lightened my heart a little. However, when I got home, I realized that my son and his wife were serious. There were 2 large cardboard boxes piled up in front of the entrance. John and my belongings. Since you said you would refuse delivery, we brought them ourselves. We'll definitely be moving in next month. So please put them in the house. Michelle. Reading the note attached to the boxes, I felt disheartened. Reluctantly, I brought the boxes inside and opened them to find various personal items of my son and his wife. John's foreign-made watch and leather jacket. Michelle's high-end brand bags, clothes, and shoes. They deliberately left expensive items that I would hesitate to throw away. Their tactics are just too underhanded. Between selling my mother's painting and now this, what do they think of me? Maybe we could enlist the help of my pets. Emma's words from the family restaurant echoed in my head. Ever since I settled into my new home, I've occasionally joined Emma and her dogs for walks. She invites me for a change of scenery. Friends are indeed valuable. I'm truly grateful. Why not just sell their belongings? Your daughter-in-law does it, right? That's true, she even sold the painting my mother left me. At the end of the leash I'm holding, Max, the male dog, looks at me with kind eyes. Still, why are your son and daughter-in-law so eager to live with you, Lily? They're both civil servants and financially stable, they should be able to live on their own. They don't want to do housework, especially Michelle. She's always busy with her hobbies, going out, and watching fashion and makeup videos. So, you've been doing all the housework alone until now? Yes. My husband never does anything, and John is often busy with overtime and business trips. And Michelle, well, you know. I remembered an overheard conversation between my son and his wife on the day I announced I was leaving the house. Who will do the housework if Lily leaves? Well, that would be you. No way, absolutely not. We'll be in trouble if we can't make her do everything. Emma sighed in disbelief as I told her this. A week later, my phone was flooded with calls from Michelle. After dozens of calls, I reluctantly answered. Is your new place a small house? Yes, it is. I've told you that before. John said he saw you walking with 3 big dogs. He was wondering if you could really keep 3 dogs in such a small house. That's when it clicked. Michelle must be afraid of dogs. There are people who fear dogs. John is one of them. They must have been too preoccupied with the dogs to notice Emma with me. I've told you it's a small house. If you're worried, why don't you come and see? We will, yes. We want to check the inside of the house too. Michelle's voice sounded a bit relieved. Maybe she concluded there were no dogs. Anyway, we'll come this Sunday at 10 a.m. She said quickly and hung up. I couldn't help but let out a yes, under my breath. Unintentionally, the counterattack had begun. On Sunday, as expected, John and Michelle came to my house. You actually came. We said we would. Let's go in. Really, Mom, it's all because you whimsically bought a house that we're dealing with this hassle. Exactly. You should have just quietly continued doing the housework as before. Grumbling, the couple took off their shoes and entered the house. Good, this is perfect. I smirked internally and opened the living room door. Whoa. Eek. In the next moment, my son and his wife screamed in unison. There, sitting in the living room, were 2 male Dobermans, Max and Duke. No way. Mom, these dogs. These are my dogs. Aren't they cute? I got them from Emma, a dog trainer who's sitting over there. Emma, who was sitting on the sofa, stood up and smiled warmly. They're well-trained and very sweet. Max, Duke, would you greet our guests? The 2 dogs barked once in unison. No way. Michelle exclaimed in fear. Michelle, overwhelmed by fear, sat down clutching her head. She seemed to have a strong aversion to dogs. Oh, these dogs are adorable. Don't worry. Max, Duke, go play. At Emma's command, the 2 dogs ran towards John and Michelle. The tails wagging, eager to play. Stop, no, I'm scared. Michelle shook her head and began to tremble. Max was only trying to invite her to play, but Michelle couldn't understand that. I'm scared of dogs. Eventually, Michelle started to cry, her face becoming a mess of tears and runny nose. If you're going to live here, you'll need to get along with these dogs. Stop it, please. Her YouTube-researched makeup was ruined. Mascara running, eyeshadow glitter spread down her cheeks. High-end foundation smeared by tears and snot. How would she face the ride home on the train with this face? Mom, do something. Meanwhile, John, intimidated by the larger Duke, had fallen and was backing away. Interpreting his movement as play, Duke joyfully jumped on him. Stop it. Big dogs are scary. Looking at John's jeans, I noticed a change in color around the crotch area. He was so scared of the dogs, he had an accident. How pitiful. Max, Duke, come here. Emma, sensing it was time, called the dogs back. They immediately left John and Michelle and returned to her side. Max, Duke, down. With one command, the dogs lay down at Emma's feet. Such intelligent animals. All this time, I was busy with part-time work and house chores, and you didn't lift a finger to help. Then you decide to move into my house as soon as I say I'm leaving. How much more can you belittle your mother? I let out the words I had been holding in as the sobbing couple stood up. I left the house because I was fed up with you too. I am not your housekeeper. But, the dogs. They are well-trained and kinder than you too. Gone was the usual assertive demeanor of John and Michelle. A husband with a wet crotch and a wife with ruined makeup. A fitting pair. And to top it off, selling my precious belongings without permission. I will never forgive you for selling my mother's keepsake painting. I said it all in one breath, then looked at the calmly lying Max and Duke before turning back to my son and his wife. With two big dogs like this, I'd rather not have you here. Yeah, we give up on moving in. So, give us back the stuff we left here last time. Then we'll leave. It's in the next room, still in the boxes. Take them and get out. Pointing to the next room, John and Michelle carefully avoided the dogs as they opened the door to retrieve their belongings. And then... Whoa. Eek. The couple screamed again and fell to the ground. Of course, they would. Beside the cardboard boxes they left in the room sat another Doberman, Daisy. Mom, get the boxes for us. No. You brought them, you take them. Peering into the room, Daisy sat calmly. I can't go near with that dog beside them. Then give up on the boxes. Leave them? My bags and John's watch are in there. You disposed of my precious things without asking, didn't you? I'm not saying leave them. I'm telling you to take them. Michelle glared at me for a moment. Then, remembering the dog, sighed and looked down. Please, Mom. Get the boxes. John, you and Michelle made fun of me. Despite knowing how important that painting was to me, you let her sell it. I know I was wrong, but... Then, Emma approached me. Daisy, would you greet our guests? Instantly, Daisy barked loudly while still sitting. No. I can't take this anymore. Hearing Daisy's bark, the couple reached their limit. With John's wet jeans and Michelle's smeared makeup, they ran to the entrance and fled the house. After that, I sold all the belongings John and Michelle left behind at a brand buyback store. John's watch and Michelle's bags turned out to be quite valuable luxury items. Their extravagant lifestyle was astonishing. Michelle, back at her husband's house, ended up doing all the household chores. My husband, used to my standards, was dissatisfied with her housework. Complaining about her cooking, the untidy house, and the pileup of laundry. Unable to pursue her hobbies due to the chores, Michelle gained 20 pounds from stress. Her irritation was all directed at John. Mom, I can't take it anymore. Michelle has started hitting me. She's always fighting with Dad, and I want a divorce. John sounded exhausted when he called me one day. You chose her as your wife. Handle it yourself. Of course, I didn't offer any advice to John. I was fed up with getting involved with that couple. Meanwhile, I bought a female Shiba Inu and asked Emma to train her. This one will be a good dog. Emma smiled warmly as she petted the puppy I named Coco. Really, it's all thanks to you, Emma. I'm sorry for making your dogs play such roles. It's fine. Hearing your story, I was the one getting angry. But now, you can live peacefully with Coco. Yes, from now on, it's time to enjoy my life, my time. With that resolution in my heart, I gently picked up Coco.